You can incorporate up to 9 images, audio files, movie files, any sort of document. What it does is just links to the document that's on your computer, copies it, and puts it in a GYST backup file. So these images are actually in the software. They're saved forever. We suggest that when you're linking to images, you link to the 72 DPI image that you're going to be using for your website, because really heavy, large images will slow down the software. Proposal tracking is great because if you're sending out a lot of proposals for grants or for calls for work, you don't want to duplicate your applications. It looks really bad to funders if you send it's the same application again, and then they're like, oh, we got too many from you, and they get angry. So this is where you keep track of the proposal that you send out. It also has an excellent tutorial on how to write a grant. Each section that would go in any standard grant, there's a section for it and instructions about how to fill out that section. We guide you through how to write an artist statement, which I think is the next talk that you guys are going to hear. But this is, what is an artist statement, what isn't an artist statement, what goes in the artist statement, how it generally should be structured. There's a form for putting in your statement, and like everything else, it archives all of your old statements. It's really important to keep all of your artist statements. Curators will be very appreciative down the line if you're going to get a retrospective, and they can go through all of your old artist statements, because then they can see how your ideas were changing along with how your work was evolving. Also, there's a little help to deal with writer's block. Same deal goes with resumes. How to structure a resume, quite basic. There's a form for putting in your own resume. It archives all of your old resumes, and there's a sample resume. Mailing list. If people don't have a fully functional, all-comprehensive mailing list of everyone you know and all the media contacts that you need to regularly let know about your work, you need to start that right now. It's probably one of the most important tools that any artist has. Galleries do have mailing lists, but that's not your mailing list. Those are two separate things. And when you have a show, a gallery will often say, can you give us your mailing list so we can send out information. So it looks good if you have a fully done mailing list that's not like, oh, here it is, like written out. That's done in something that it can be exported into Excel and printed, and you can print the labels. So this is a fully functional mailing list. Everything that you need for any mailing, anything you need for any label, you put their email in there, and just clicking on this button links up directly to your email program and prepares the email for you. This is all about how to document your work, but also how to put together your portfolio. What goes in a portfolio, the different uses for a portfolio, how different venues need different kinds of portfolios. A gallery, like a gallery in Chelsea, would need a very different portfolio than a portfolio you would use to apply to art school, or a portfolio that you would send, or a packet that you would send to a nonprofit. So it's important to know what goes into a portfolio. I always advise people don't spend a ton of money on like the fancy leather-bound portfolio, because it just gets in the way of looking at the work. Simple is good. Business issues. So this is like I said, this is a teaching tool. We use this software in our classes, and so this would be like the textbook. Advice on all these different topics, from aging. It seems that ageism is like the new racism in the art world. When you have shows like Younger Than Jesus, I mean, really, what kind of curatorial level is that, honestly? So it's how to deal with getting older in the art world. And nowadays, it seemed like the younger artists were getting shows right out of college. It's not happening as much anymore. But yeah, this is about how to be aware that that the art world looks at aging in a certain way, and we really want to combat that. Why it's important to do community service in the art world. It's one of the best networking opportunities. If anybody, I know nobody has any free time, but volunteering at places like Dumbo, at nonprofits, is a great way to, if you really want to get out there in the art community, these nonprofits are the lifeblood of the art community. So it would be smart to donate your time to your community. Tips on curating. People have questions about, I didn't go to art school, or I didn't, get an art history degree. Can I curate? Of course you can curate. Artists curate all the time. So it's just some tips on what to think about if you're going to start curating work, different kinds of methods of curating. How to deal with disability. This is another thing that the art world tends to push under the table. Like, if you're in a show and the show is wheelchair accessible, put that on the press release. Both because that's the right thing to do, and also you might get a little wheelchair symbol next to your listing, which people's eyes will go to. That's great too. But we really need to be aware that people with disabilities navigate exams differently. They need resources, just like everyone else. Ethics, how you should treat colleagues with respect, don't be selfish, don't harm curators. A story is that, if you want to get out in the art world, you want to meet people, you want curators to come look at your work, there's some pretty set rules. Is that you don't show your work to people at openings. You don't go with your portfolio around to other people's openings. That's their time for their show. An iPhone is not the best way for somebody to see your work. Don't hound curators. Also, if you're in a gallery, don't stand and hand out your flyers at the door. It's a bad idea. Things like that. So we're going to go gangbusters through websites. The web is a many-armed monster these days, and I think that every artist needs their own website. It's a no-brainer. It's like having a business card. I think every artist also needs to have a business card with a website on it. So first things first is before you embark on your website, you need to do some self-reflection, like you would do if you were going to rewrite your artist statement. You need to figure out what you're doing, what your practice is like, what makes it unique, and who your audience is, because all these things get reflected in your website. Everyone needs a website. So the first thing you need to do when you go home is buy your domain name. I think it's great to buy your actual name. Now, if you are named Jackson Pollock, God help you. But you want to buy, maybe then you want to be the other Jackson Pollock. But maybe your name with art at the end of it or something. But everyone needs to go and buy their domain name. So I put some options. Everyone knows GoDaddy. You're like the industry leader. But there's other options out there. Super Green is an environmentally friendly website company. GYST is another option. They're very inexpensive domains. And ThinkHost is also a green company as well. So I like to say that there's other options except for GoDaddy. And it's just strange that we trust this company with our website that has such a hideous website. So the first thing, of course, is do your research. Before you embark on your website, you need to look at a lot of artist websites. I think that one of the best resources for that is ArtSlant. We're going to talk about social networking and other websites that you need to put your work up on, but everybody here needs to go on ArtSlant and create their profile. I think it's one of the best networking sites, as well as sort of a listing of artists that are working today. What's great too is it shows like who you showed with, where you showed. It's great. So everyone needs to go on ArtSlant. But it's also a great place because when you click on people's profiles, if they have a website, that's what this person does, you can go click on their website and see how they design their website. Of course, that's not here. Anyway, so yeah, go to this, look at other people's websites, and see what works and doesn't work, and keep notes about what you like and what you don't like. Yeah, do your research.